Hello! So, a week or two ago on my Instagram story, I posted a little video of me being inspired to make a graduation cap and gown out of toilet paper. And I was testing some methods of toilet paper sewing to see if it would work. And I've now decided to go fully through with it. So, I'm going to share with you today my plan and kind of introduce the project because I feel like it'll be fun to keep up with and I want to keep sharing it. So, I hope you like that. Anywho, why am I making a graduation cap and gown out of toilet paper? You may ask. It's because I'm supposed to graduate this semester as an art major with my Bachelor of Fine Arts. And because of Corona, current climate, we can't gather in large groups. So I will not. I'll still be graduating. I'll still be getting my completion paper, but currently the plan to celebrate it is through this PowerPoint presentation type thing, which is good. I'm glad they're still trying to do something, but I feel like I want something just a little bit more special to celebrate that. So it's kind of me taking back this thing for myself, and toilet paper is kind of like the symbol of Corona right now, the hot commodity. So it just felt right for that to be the material is kind of like a screw you for trying to take this away from me. Let me show you what I'm gonna do instead, kind of deal. So that's why. Let me show you my master plan. So usually this is written down in my sketchbook. Today you will see it on a big piece of paper. I don't know if I'm going to make one of these, but I'm going to make a gown and I'm going to make a cap using materials that come from a toilet paper roll or packaging, just the whole thing. So my lovely friend Courtney actually measured her own gown and gave me some measurements to work with to kind of base mine around, which is awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. And then the cap, I just got some standard measurements from the internet. I just kind of looked up what the square size was and I can figure out how it's going to sit on my head later. Now you'll notice there was a little fabric swatch right here. This is the method I'm deciding to go with for the sewing of the toilet paper. I'd like to show you my test results because the first problem that I was going to have was, okay, it's toilet paper, it's going to tear, it's made to tear, but it's also made to be resilient enough to wipe with, and it's uniform in the way it's rolled up all at once. Each piece is consistent in the amount of strength it has, right? So, knowing that, I tried sewing some together. Now this is 2-ply. I'm no longer using 2-ply because we ran out. But this is one strip and then a second strip sewn with 2 lines on top of each other, and they're overlapping by half the toilet paper. Now when I pulled, it tore, so it's a good attempt, but it's gonna be a no-go. My second attempt in this testing was a couple strips going this way, a couple strips going this way, some overlap, and this one also tore, but the diagonal line had a bit more stability. So I tried again. This one, many strips going this way, many strips going this way. A potentially wasteful 16 squares. But yeah, and then sewn straight lines across. But this one tore too, despite me changing it up so that the overlap patterns were not as consistent, to maybe add some strength. And then this one I already tore. Well, I tore all of them actually. This one was some individual pieces that I sewed in a diagonal fashion. There was promise there. So I thought, okay, there's something to do with these diagonals that's working. Lastly, I came up with this. Now, yes, it tore, but it took some effort. Sorry for my cat. She's very loud. She has a lot to say. Now to make this, what I did was I actually just used one sheet and one sheet, but because this is very thin single ply, I'm doubling it up. This is 4 small sheets of toilet paper, 2, put them together, that's 4. Then I have been taking my handy dandy protractor and marking a line to sew diagonally and then trimming the excess. So what that looks like is this. And then I've been sort of like origami folding it over so that now this was my original square and this was my original square, and now they're folded in half and sewn along their edges. So one square, smushed together. And that was giving me some strength. Now, I'm making a bunch of these. Now, you can see it's been like trimmed so it's square, easier to work with. And connecting them. Something's happening, right? This is a strip of 3. What I've been doing so far is taking strips of 3, sewing them together to make a large square. I don't dare pull too hard on this. I'm trying to make surface area happen. And I will be sewing the large pieces to make an extra large piece. I'll show you my what I've got in progress here at the end. So those are my fabric tests. I now know what I want to do to make the fabric for the gown. Next, how much do I need? So, Courtney, lovely Courtney, with her measurements, I was able to do some math. Dramatic. And I figure that graduation gowns, since they don't flatter anybody, they're not like tapered or shaped in any real way. It's just kind of like a tube that you could theoretically unravel into a rectangle. So two sleeves, right? And then this top square bit that you stick your head through. And then the tube for your body. So with that, I took her measurements and figured out what the rectangle size would be like. And then realizing that these were 9 inches by 9 inches, figured how many of those could make up one of these. So here my answer was like 7 by 5 of those big squares. Here my answer was 3 by 3 of those big squares, times 2 for each sleeve. And then here it was 2 by 2 for that square bit. So that kind of makes sense because I have 2 square bits, and that's more than enough to cover my shoulders, right? So my math's so far checking out. We'll see how long that lasts. Now for the interesting bit. The totals and predictions for future. This is advertised to contain 1,000 sheets of toilet paper. Knowing that this contains, how many? 36 sheets. And doing the math, I found out that I can get 27 of these out of one of these. Which means, theoretically, I'll need 57 of these to make more than enough. Which will take me 38 hours of actual fabric making time. I hope less, but it's my prediction. And just over 2 rolls, because I'll need just over 2,000 sheets. That's actually a lot better than what I was expecting. I thought maybe 3 or 4. That's pretty conservative. for the amount of surface area that I want. So, back to my master plan. That's the gown sort of figured out. It's the plan for it. The cap, so far I'm thinking that I'm going to use the cardboardy bits from the toilet rolls. I found this super cool tutorial online for how to, on Pinterest, I love Pinterest, for how to make a basket out of like sections of those things. So, here's like one little slice of that tubey thing, folded over, or just folded, pressed, folded. And the tutorial is just like kind of weaving them in a certain fashion so that they all link up and will eventually go on my head like this and be so cute. So that's the plan for that. I don't yet know if I want to make one of these or if I want to decorate it at all. My graduation would be on May 22nd, so that's how much time I'm giving myself for this project. I did have this sort of like idea that I came up with a few years ago though. I took a sewing class. In the sewing class they had us practice on a coloring page, putting it through the machine to learn how to turn it and learn like the machine. So it was like this butterfly piece of paper that we were like going. So I knew you could sew through paper. So I tried embroidering through paper once, and that worked. Cool. Taking it a step further, I met this awesome artist named Caldra Kamen, who crochets plastic strips. It's essentially plastic that she's cutting away so that it makes like yarn. And she crochets it into different animals to talk about the environment. And so I thought, okay, if you can crochet plastic, theoretically, you can do any kind of needle arts with plastic. And if you can do any kind of needle arts with plastic, theoretically, you can embroider with plastic. I don't know if I'll use that in my gown yet, but that's sort of another thing I'm thinking of, because in a toilet paper package, you have the tube, you have the paper, and then you have the plastic it comes in. I'm trying to stick to just those materials, but I don't know, maybe I'll venture outside of them. Just another thing I'm kind of keeping in the back of my mind for a possible use. There's the back all scraggly. Yeah. Now I want to show you my sheets, how much surface area I've got so far. So that's my plan. Now you know how I got here. Look! Oh, it's so pretty! So this is 3 of these sheets, 36 little original toilet paper squares. It's beautiful, right? It's kind of quilty and like has this nice definition of the shapes when you shake it. Tug on it, and it's kind of, you know, all the tension's in the right places. And you can tell there's no special way of sewing the squares together, just on the edges. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to adorn myself with it. It's been surprisingly easy to work with. Now, don't be fooled. This is not high quality toilet paper. Let me demonstrate. This is 1 ply. It's already grainy through the camera, and when I lick it, it's just, you wouldn't want to use this. Right? Just instant. There's no forgiveness. So goes to show that toilet paper has more structural soundness when you figure out how to spread the tension in a way that it will cooperate with you. Yeah. Anywho, that's all I've got to share today. I want to keep doing these check-ins, updates, showing you what I'm doing, get you excited, get me excited kind of things. And I hope you will come find me for the next one. Thanks for listening.